Well, as I said, it's my final show of the year and it is a big one. I've got an exclusive interview with United States Congressman Brad Wenstrup on his investigation into the origins of COVID. That's coming up later. Economist Judith Sloan will also join me live to slam government spending. Plus, Justin Quill, a top lawyer, will break down the findings against John Pizzuto after Moira Deeming's win today. Gemma Tognini, Gary Hargrave also on the program. But now let's bring in National Senator Matt Canavan and Perth Mayor Basil Zemplis. Welcome to you both, Matt and Basil. Look,
Sharon,
you just saw that shocking footage then. It is quite scary to watch, and we timed it precisely. This is the footage that the police have obtained from inside the synagogue. 37 seconds, Matt, between the moment a worshipper was in that room and when it was engulfed in flames.
Well, we can just be thankful, Shari, that no one was hurt or injured from these shocking events in Australia. It has shocked the country. I mean, in the space of a year, we've had a bishop stabbed during a sermon, and now these attacks on the Jewish community. It's very sad to see a country divided this way, and I think it is an obligation on all our leaders, our political leaders, to try and unite Australians and be with them at times of these kinds of troubles. It's good to see the Prime Minister finally do that. It's been a bit belated, but look, we just got to stop trying to pit Australians against Australians. The vast majority of Australians do want to get along. There's obviously a small minority among us that are trying to cause us to divide ourselves, to fight against each other. But what we've got to do is bring those perpetrators to justice, find who these people are, make them account for the full account of the law. And then otherwise, we've got to get together as all Australians of all different faiths. We're very lucky to be in this country. And I think that one of the things that makes this such a harmonious and prosperous country over time is that we've generally been able to leave centuries-long ethnic conflicts to other parts of the world. We're very lucky here in this country that we don't have generational conflict of any great note, and long may it stay that way.
Well, it's not staying that way anymore. It hasn't stayed that way for the past 14 months, but I agree it was, up until that point, largely safe and free of racism. Basil, I want to get your reaction, and let's play them again now, that footage from inside the synagogue. Basil, what was your reaction when you saw just how close that worshipper came to being engulfed in flames, and also that extraordinary footage of the arsonists going back and forth with the red jerry can, and you can see, the black covering over their face?
Absolutely horrific, isn't it? And as Matt has just said, how lucky we all are that the clash of times, the lighting of those explosives and that worshipper leaving that place of worship didn't just coincide that tiny bit closer, because we know what would have happened. What we also know is this was a person and people intent on destruction. It was a crime fueled by hate. It's unnecessary. It's not what we like in our country. We want it stamped out, and we want the message about it being stamped out to be very clear and to be coming from the very top. And as Matt has said quite correctly, the Prime Minister is in and on now, but it has taken some time, and these messages need to be clear, they need to be concise, and they need to be immediate, that this sort of behaviour will never be tolerated in our country.
And, and we can keep looking at this footage. It is just utterly extraordinary. But while the Prime Minister was yesterday responding to this terror attack and the rise in anti-Semitism, I reported on the show last night that an Australian Auschwitz survivor, turning 100, had wanted her whole family to join her for the celebrations, but that Tony Burke's department had introduced was sending Israelis this hostile questionnaire where they were asked if they'd committed war crimes and to detail their military service, which in Israel is compulsory. Now, last night, 2 of the Berger family had not been able to enter the country. The 21-year-old great-granddaughter flew back home after her week's leave was up and the visa's still not through. She might never get to see her 100-year-old grandmother, Holocaust survivor, again. But now, in good news, thanks to our coverage on the show last night, the government is now allowing the relative who's been stranded in Thailand for 2 weeks to come to Australia. Matt, this is pretty outrageous, though, to ask family members of Holocaust survivors if they've committed war crimes.
Yeah, look, I don't know a lot about this case apart from what's being reported. I have to deal with many of these types of cases that come to me from time to time. Normally, you get a very sensible response when they're raised, and congratulations for you to helping out this family in this instance. There does seem to be something a little bit strange about these questions. Obviously, I support a strong border protection regime, and I support our authorities asking appropriate questions about who wants to come to this country and make sure it's safe for all of us, for them to enter here. No one that's not Australian has a right to enter our country. They don't have a default right to do that, and I always mention that to people who want special treatment. But yeah, there's something strange about these questions if that's true. So some questions I think need to be answered about exactly what the processes are in place for members of the Defence Force from Israel. Maybe there is need for some type of questions when there are members of Defence Forces from other countries coming to our country, but yeah, it seemed a little strange.